get acquainted with the stock. Bumble provides online dating and social networking platforms in North America, Europe, internationally. It operates websites, applications that offer subscription and in-app purchases, dating products. Okay. All right. 1,200 employees. Okay. And the stock year to date is down a little bit. For the 1 year, down a lot. 5 year, down a whole lot. Now, what looks really interesting is look at this forward PE. That's a pretty good forward PE. Tiny cap, 1.25 billion. Revenues, 1 billion. Where are these guys headquartered? Give me a second here. So they're in Austin, Texas. Okay, cool. So their market cap, you're like at 1 times revenue, which is really low for this type of industry. We'll see what their margins look like, but this type of industry tends to have a much ratio of sales to market cap. The down stock price is the reason for that. Analysts say hold. We'll see how many are saying hold, but it is slightly discounted. So the stock price has really been sold off. Now, what looks really interesting is there's a lot of green on the revenue growth. That's very positive. And when we look at the latest quarter, that is a small contraction, not too big, but it's still contraction. I would have liked to have seen them maintain their growth, but that's not the case. So that is, in general, it looks really good. There is a red flag that, hey, what happened in the last quarter? How are you going to get your growth back? So this is September 30th is a quarter that we're looking at. They announced on the 18th. So their forecast dropped. Okay. So it looks like we haven't seen the new numbers come in here. So let me go out to the investor page for Bumble, and we can get the scoop on what's going on with this little company. All right. So Bumble announces their quarter. Revenue in 2024 increased 2%. In-app revenue went up some. Okay. So small growth. And this is just for the quarter. Paying users went up 5.13%. Okay. So they're increasing their app users. So that looks good. I guess they own a couple of apps. They have the Bumble and then the Badu. I don't know what Badu is. Maybe it's similar. They repurchased some shares. That looks good. Here's their outlook. So this is what, according to that news headline, that investors didn't like. So the revenue is supposed to be 241 to 248. Okay. So when we look at Q1, the revenue is 267. So yeah, that would be about a $20 million decrease in revenue. So that could be disappointing to investors that, hey, your revenue is really slowing. Well, what's the problem? So that is reason to be concerned, but I'm still interested. And the reason for it is, let's take a look at their margins and see how good their margins are. And we'll go from there. So here is operating earnings. She had a big loss of some sort. So I'm not getting much here. So they had a big loss. I'm not sure what this is all about. I think this is a homework item of, hey, what is this loss? And we got to look at their balance sheet and their free cash flow history. Let's take a look at that next here. So we got the revenue at 1 billion. When we look at their free cash flow, it is positive. And you see how it's been growing. I really like seeing that. When you're growing like that, I'm a little more confident about the data. The data is probably going to be good. So the free cash flow looks good. At this rate, they're not growing, which is a problem. But even without the growth, this company, depending on how much cash they have in debt, let's take a look at that next. So they have 252 million of cash and about 631, excuse me, of debt. So they're roughly about a 400 billion debt company. And I mean, their stock price is slightly discounted, maybe discounted by 10, 20% based on the free cash flow I'm seeing. And the reason the cash flow isn't putting a bigger number on their value is that they're slowing down. Why are they not growing? That's a big problem. These guys are in a industry, right? And I don't use dating apps, so I'm guessing at it, but I think my guess would be you could fall out of favor and the public doesn't like your app, and then your stock gets destroyed, like it's getting destroyed after hours. This one here is risky, and it hasn't shown. I mean, it's shown a little bit of rally here, but then it just went sideways. Year to date, it's down, and then after tomorrow, it'll be down 18%. So this one's got too many problems going on. They got to grow their business. If they can't grow their business, these guys are just not going to be all that relevant. They're not going to be all that valuable. When we look at what analysts are saying, 12 analysts cover it. There's an analyst that's very positive on the company. Worst case scenario is $7 a share, which isn't too bad. But man, that that earnings is really tanking the stock. So this stock here looks like they're going to be profitable this year, 2025. That might change, like kind of the investor mindset around Bumble, but I'm still concerned about it. This one, I wouldn't even put it on my watch list. And the reason for it is I have great options. Like right now, I've got about 6 companies that I could buy into, and I've done some homework on them. I'm going to show you CRM Salesforce after I cover the stocks you guys want to cover. And that's a pretty good looking investment for me. I'd rather go into investments like that. Bumble is just a little too risky at this point. And I know some of these can really fly up. You can go from 1.25 billion to 3 billion and you just tripled your money. I get that. But you could also see the stock really go down like to $2 and then nobody wants to buy it because it's such a low price on the stock. So I'm going to pass on Bumble.